Brenda's questioning was as infuriating as it had been anticipated. She sat across two federal agents in an empty interview room, still clad in her tank top and sun hat, entirely oblivious to the gravity of what she'd committed. "I thought it was abandoned," she insisted, eyes wide. "You broke a lock," one agent stated sternly. "It was rusted," she protested. Asked if she knew what Schedule II drugs were, she shrugged. "Is that like a weight loss thing?" The offenses were serious and piling up quickly. Theft of government property, unauthorized use of federal systems, tampering with drugs, reckless endangerment, interference with national security operations. The charges read like a laundry list, and Brenda handled it like a parking ticket. "I just wanted a vacation," she grumbled. Her trial proceeded swiftly. The evidence was overwhelming. Courtroom screens played out the TikTok videos, which included spilled narcotics, classified systems used as footrests, a wine glass placed on a forensic microscope. Her defense? "I thought the setup was aesthetic." That statement alone brought gasps in court. The jury deliberated little. Guilty. On all counts. 7 years. Eligible for parole in 5. As she was escorted away in handcuffs, she tossed a final bid for relevance over her shoulder. "I know the mayor." Nobody even flinched. Online, though, Brenda's tale didn't disappear into nothing. Her mugshot turned into a meme. One Reddit forum captioned it, "From HOA queen to federal scene," she was branded as the Margarita Mole. TikTok reenactments, parodies, and deconstructions of her live streams filled the internet. The pink flamingo from her lawn earned an Instagram account. In a strange, perverse sort of way, Brenda had gone viral, just not in the way she would have wanted. But here's the catch. Her carelessness unwittingly provided us with the break we had been looking for. Due to the infiltration she created, and with the residual tracking information from her inadvertent interference, our agency discovered an undetected cartel cum cell. The USB drive her friend Tanya inserted into a laptop had sent a data handshake to a formerly idle node. That single ping illuminated a network we had been attempting to break for decades by week's end. We had opened up shop in 3 cities, 10 arrests, seizures that were massive, critical supply lines cut. Brenda's chaos had really laid bare a crucial vulnerability in cartel infrastructure. And although she knew not that one glittery road trip came to serve to turn the tide on an existing federal operation. Upon my return to the agency, I was made lead mobile ops supervisor. My new surveillance lab was rather ingeniously camouflaged as a pest control van. Plain white, no flamingos, and absolutely no disco lights. The message was clear: camouflage is key. Months went by. I drove through the old neighborhood one afternoon, taking a detour from my routine. Brenda's house now belonged to new people. No HOA infractions, no spontaneous parades, no snarky pink lawn gnomes. Just a pair of people grilling in their driveway without incident. The gate that used to separate Brenda from my lab was now reinforced with steel and guarded by drones. As I eased up and gazed at the empty street, I felt an odd calm wash over me. No flamingos, no pandemonium, no pilfered campers racing down the road. For a moment, I almost wished I was still in the midst of the craziness. Almost. Then I changed gears and kept driving, because some tales, however wild, are best left in the rearview mirror. End. When I climbed aboard the surveillance helicopter, things had already gotten progressively more out of hand. Brenda had posted a pair of additional videos, one of her dancing in the shower of the camper, a second off the rooftop ladder screaming, "America, baby," like she was on a spring break package. I grumbled to myself, she's officially the most dangerous idiot in the nation. And unfortunately, I wasn't mistaken. Brenda had now renamed the camper Freedom Cruiser and was driving along Route 17 like she was on a road trip of luxury. Smoothie in one hand, phone in the other, her friends sprawled inside like it was some sort of spa retreat. They were throwing trail mix, laughing at the decor, having no idea that the fridge was actually a compound stabilizer, and those cool drawers contained drug evidence from a cartel border bust. Each time they handled a panel or flipped a switch, They were activating passive security logs. The lab may have resembled a party bus to them, but to us, it was a bomb on wheels cruising down the highway. The agency went into high gear. From satellite pings of the camper's lingering signals, we followed her to a gas station in Little Haven. A suspected cartel affiliate had been seen in the area. I flew directly to Sable County to intercept local law enforcement. That's when I got introduced to Deputy Marty. He was the type who looked as if he hadn't gotten into actual action since high school football. "She stole what now?" he asked, wincing at me. "A mobile D-Lab," I said, fighting to remain calm. His face whitened. "She's toast." Meanwhile, back at headquarters, analysts rushed to evaluate the damage. Brenda had just uploaded another video, this one from a bingo parlor/foot spa. One of her pals had already opened a transparently labeled sample container, spilling heat-sealed narcotics on the carpet. Another video featured Brenda taking close-ups of a blinking laptop. It contained encrypted informant information. She giggled, describing it as CSI-esque. That's when we realized we had to put an end to this. My handler's voice came through the coms. "Next destination's Pelican Shore Beach Carnival." She put it up. "Taking the party to the beach, babes?" But there was something else in the video. An unmoving shape in the crowd of people with dark shades on, clutching a phone held just a bit too firmly. "Cartel Scout, we raised the mission from surveillance to intercept immediately. Our objective: control the situation before it blew. We had coordinated with the local cops, established a soft perimeter around the carnival. No panic. No sirens, just eyes and ears everywhere. If we got this wrong, there'd be panic. If we didn't act quickly enough, people would die. And then the camper. It came rolling in like a bad dream from the circus. Glitter streamers, inflatable pink flamingos duct taped to the flanks, techno beats blasting from Bluetooth speakers, and nail-polished slogan messages scribbled across folding chairs. Brenda had taken the demo version of the DEA's $2.4 million tailgating surveillance lab and made it look like a traveling tailgating party. She stood atop a folding table and addressed the gathering. "Let this be the summer we take back freedom from HOA bullies and lame curfews." The crowd applauded. They believed it to be some kind of ironic performance art. But I was surveying the faces, searching for the ones not laughing. Two men at opposite sides of the group, both gripping phones with earbuds, hardly blinking, confirming, waiting not for Brenda. For the van, that's when it went down. Brenda went live once more. She was within the camper, flaunting her remodeled interior. Then she leaned for a rear panel, the very one hiding a secure vault drawer, and kicked it open with a metal spatula. A number of glass vials fell to the ground. I experienced the blood drain from my face. "Contain it now," my handler breathed. I pointed Deputy Marty. He clicked his radio. Our agents moved. I made my way through the group to the camper. Brenda was in mid-sentence, waving her phone like a prize. "Oh, look, it's Mr. Grumpy Camper," she bellowed when she saw me. I remained silent. I leaned forward and shut down her live stream quietly. The mood changed in an instant. Laughter at the back of the crowd ceased. Brenda's superior look broke. "Wait, this is about the camper?" she said. I answered matter-of-factly, "You stole a federal laboratory. You adulterated narcotics. You revealed classified material. And you brought them all to a public beach." She attempted to laugh it off. It was unlocked. "You left it open. And that crowbar was just for ventilation." Semantics. Agents started closing in. The crowd still believed it was an act until we received the call on our earpieces. "We've got movement." The cartel scouts started moving quickly toward the camper. One reached inside his jacket. "Go loud," I shouted. Instant mayhem broke out. Agents subdued the first scout before he could even draw his weapon. The second was tasered in mid-lunge. Children cried, beachgoers scrambled in all directions, families abandoned their lawn chairs and dispersed. Brenda yelled, "Are they with you too?" As if she thought this wasn't all staged for her show. In less than 20 minutes, it was all over too. The camper was sealed and impounded. Brenda was cuffed and led to a holding cell. The heedless smugness she'd sported like a badge was forgotten. Back at headquarters, We went over the aftermath, glitter all over the place. Salsa on biometric pads, a granola bar stuck in the DNA scanner. One of the USB ports had been used to play music on Tanya's laptop, and that act alone had triggered a cartel node in Central America. The breach was confirmed. The stench of cheap margarita still clung to the morning air. When my phone rang with 5 words that immediately knotted my stomach, "Your camper is gone." Initially, I believed it was a prank. Then the picture appeared. There she was, Brenda, with oversized sunglasses, a straw hat flopping in the wind, and a tank top that loudly proclaimed "Hot Mess Express." She proudly posed for a selfie with a margarita clutched in one hand and her small yapping dog clutched in the other, right on the streets in front of my D-Mobile laboratory. The caption, "Road tripping in style, baby." That was the moment the reality set in. Brenda hadn't simply stolen off with some run-down camper. She'd commandeered an operational federal surveillance van, crossed state borders, and live-streamed the whole ordeal to the globe to witness, including the very cartel systems we were attempting to keep under surveillance. Take me back and understand why this wasn't merely a piece of neighborhood gossip. I am not some glamping weekend warrior who tricked out a van. I operate deep cover as a field technician for the DEA. The truck Brenda was mistaken for a rusty old camper was actually a mobile surveillance vehicle equipped with forensic technology. Secure comes equipment and encrypted data vital to several ongoing operations. You can't lose something like that without it causing alarms from Washington to Mexico City in the Larks Estates community at a low-key cover. I was simply a taciturn federal agriculture advisor who liked having the peace of camping to myself. I grew a beard, donned those silly bucket hats, and stayed to myself. No one had the slightest notion what my rig truly was. No one other than Brenda, or at least, she believed she did. Brenda had been grouching about the camper ever since I'd settled into the place. It was too close to the curb, she'd complain. It didn't fit the neighborhood atmosphere. She even teased that I must be cooking meth in there. I'd always answer calmly, sternly warning her not to come close because it was federal property. But Brenda was the type of neighbor who viewed rules as guidelines particularly. When she believed she could manipulate them to benefit her, she already had a reputation. She'd accumulated fines for breaking HOA rules, illegal flora, tough control parties, even parking on other folks' driveways. One time, she even planted a neon pink plastic flamingo in my flower bed as some kind of protest. But things really heated up the week I loaded a sealed metal case into the camper. "Fishing?" she asked, smirking. I said nothing. What I was really locking up was a fentanyl derivative seized in a big busted drug so toxic it was stored behind biometric locks and ringed with motion detectors, just in case. I programmed in a phone alert coupled to the camper's systems. 3 days later, that alert fired. The video was low-res, but it said it all. There was Brenda, with a toolbox, sneaking through the gate, entering a code, and matter-of-factly stepping into the camper. It turned out she had been observing me enter it one afternoon, as if she were taking her dog for a walk. Then, she figured the rest out from smudges on keypads. It was infuriating. But worse than that, it was dangerous. That car wasn't only packed with high-tech equipment. It contained encrypted cartel information, names, coordinates, plans of operation. What she'd done was no longer petty theft. It was an intelligence leak. I phoned my handler straight away. The answer? "We've already viewed it. She's put it on TikTok." We were flabbergasted. There they were, Brenda and her 2 closest friends, Cheryl and Tanya, sipping margaritas in the surveillance lab, celebrating their new freedom. They joked about the leather seats. One of them employed the forensic desk as a snack platter. The GPS was pulled out and was wrapped in a beach towel. She suspected it was some sort of nagging alarm. Something she did not realize was that the camper would continue to ping location data through a satellite whenever it was moved. That gave us partial glimpses of a fireworks stand, a roadside motel, a spa off the highway. Watching it unfold felt like a crossover between a sitcom and a spy thriller. But behind the chaos, the agency was in full-blown panic. The camper had been flagged inactive due to its undercover status, meaning it wasn't under 24/7's watch. I'd assumed no one would be dumb enough to steal it. That assumption turned into a national liability. And what about Brenda? She still believed this was some sort of HOA win. But the cartel we were following? They weren't joking. They had surveillance on everything. Spanish observations poured into one of our secure chat rooms. That's the van. Locate her. My handler glanced up. You're going to like this. She just geotagged herself at the Blue Water Parade in Sable County. In D sunglasses she located in the glove box. I pounded my fist on the table. She was parading around federal gear out in public with the cartel scouts observing. I didn't need to be told what to do. I offered to extract her. This wasn't ego anymore. This was damage control. If we didn't move fast, Brenda's road trip would culminate with more than handcuffs. It could have finished in body bags.